Hi, I'm Catherine.
And I'm Gail, and welcome to Women Over 70 Aging Reimagined, our award-winning weekly podcast. Visit womenover70.com and learn how you may become engaged with our community through Aging Reimagined Circle. We hope to see you at our next online monthly program. And we want to thank our sponsor for today, Women's Connection, a nonprofit women's group with chapters around the country. Members are vibrant, accomplished women, age 50 and forward, who connect around common interests, empower each other to thrive, and stick together as they travel through the stuff of life, no matter what comes their way. WomenConnecting.org.
Today, we're delighted to be talking with Denise Poncher. Her impressive journey through the arts world has tapped her talents in creative writing, documentary photography, custom art framing, hand-colored photos, collage, and fiber arts. Currently, Denise, who's 73, is involved in legacy writing, and she describes the process of sorting through memories and emotions like doing a piece of art. Some of Denise's memories are of difficult losses and of caregiving. Denise was 7 when her mother died and 19 when her father died. When her daughter Sasha died at age 32, Denise became very involved in caring for her granddaughter. Denise married and divorced twice. She took early retirement at age 65 to care for her great-grandson. And she has proud memories. She completed her bachelor's at age 39 and an MBA at age 42 while parenting 3 children. She had her first solo art exhibit at age 31. She was protecting the public as an inspector for the Department of Justice Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, Explosives. She was teaching horsemanship at an equestrian farm. So Denise continues to create art, explore new mediums, and has started a fiber arts group in her local community. So Denise, welcome to Women Over 70, Aging Reimagined. It's been a pleasure to meet you through the Legacy Writing Group and Arbor West Neighbors Women's Circle. So thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Let's start sort of in your earlier life. I mean, you've had to fend for yourself in so many aspects of life. You're at home, at school, in your career, in your marriages. What stands out for you as the most transforming of the experiences that you've had in your life?
For me, it seems as though there's not necessarily really one moment or 2 or 3. It seems like there's little bits that happen along the way. And based on, the choices I made, they've, allowed me to, I would say, blossom. And I think it's having some very close friends, some very strong mentors in as far back as grammar school and in college and in graduate school. I was fortunate enough to have a woman that I met through a mutual acquaintance, and she and I banded together and had our graduate theses shown together at a gallery in Chicago called Artemisia. And it was because of that we were able to do that for a month-long project. Usually these graduate shows are for a week at the university's gallery, but the insistence and, I guess, nudging of my supervisor in graduate studies, she encouraged me to look outside of the university because she felt that the material would be better to be exposed to a larger group of people than just the university graduate students. So my friend who had hers on I had mine on domestic violence. She had hers on incest. And so together we presented something that was profound and meaningful to both of us. And we felt that it was necessary to be exposed. So I would say that exhibit, along with my undergraduate exhibit, were things that encouraged me and provided me with, I would say, strength and confidence.
Yeah. What year was that? Because incest and domestic violence were not public topics at that time, really.
That was 1993. So it was still new in terms of being publicly spoken about. Yeah, I mean, it's been and even now, it's a topic that one doesn't bring up casually, or should I say easily. And there's still a lot of stigma attached to those who have experienced such devastating, life-changing events. I was a very shy child, very timid. I mean, I wouldn't even ask a waitress if I wanted, ketchup as opposed to mustard. And so along the way, I was able, with the different work that I did, to come out of my shell, feel comfortable talking with strangers, feel confident about myself. When I worked with custom picture framing, there would be everybody under the sun who might come in, and I was the one who had to talk with them and encourage them to look at their artwork in a different light and expose them to different ways of viewing. So that helped a lot. And then, of course, when I ended up working with the USDA and ATF, I mean, I was dealing with people I never knew before in my entire life. And even though I had a badge, I felt it sometimes that I was a imposter because it's like, well, yeah, I have this badge, but I'm just as human as you. So I approached everything as just dealing with a person, that I wasn't this person that had any necessarily more authority, even though I did, but I felt that that wasn't the way to go about it. I felt it was always best to deal with people on a personal level as much as possible, and to make them feel comfortable as much as I possibly could in working with them.
Could you just tell us what did that involve? Working with the Bureau.
Let's see. Well, with the USDA, it dealt with negotiating growers and sellers. They often had conflicts, and so we had to act as a mediator with them. And then with ATF, we did the licensing and the inspection of all firearms and explosive licensees. So we had to do a thorough background and make sure that where they were operating was legal, because oftentimes there were home operations. And then we would go into their place of business and make sure that they were taking care of things properly in terms of the way they took care of their books. So, making sure they put in the acquisition and disposition of firearms, making sure that the 4473, which is a form you fill out in order to apply to purchase a firearm, was done correctly. And so that's what it was about. It was really involved, but that's kind of the basic.
Yeah, thank you. At one time, I'm sorry, Gail, go ahead.
I was just going to say that because I spent so many years in the liquor industry, this part of your background intrigues me. But you weren't involved with liquor, you were only involved with explosives.
Right. But actually, when I first came on board, ATF was still under Treasury. And so they did the alcohol, tobacco, firearms, and explosives.
Right.
And so we would license alcohol and tobacco industry members. But because it was the last year, because we ended up being moved over to the Department of Justice, the alcohol and tobacco aspects, the licensing and the inspections of them, stayed with the Department of Treasury. And this all had to do with 9/11 and realigning all the law enforcement agencies. So I missed out on that aspect. I did go to one inspection of a tobacco manufacturer, but I missed out.
When we talked before, Denise, you told me that at one time you were interested in teaching math or science, or maybe becoming a forensic scientist, and then you've been with these other areas, but you seem destined for the arts. So
Yes, actually, when I
tell
was
us about that.
doing, I was going to go into teaching in undergrad, grammar school, middle school, perhaps. And I wanted to do it with art and math because I figured in terms of being able to get a position, it might be easier to get a position teaching math than it would be to teach art because, of course, if anything gets cut, it's the arts. So I wanted to be more valuable as an instructor. But then I just decided I'd just stick with the arts and let that go by the wayside. But later on, when I was working in the framing business, I took a class at the College of DuPage. It was a two-year college, out in DuPage County on criminology and computers. And it really interests me greatly. And I figured with my science background in undergrad, that maybe forensic science would be something that would be of interest to me. But having finished my master's degree, I figured I was kind of burnt out at that moment to go back and study again. So I put that aside.
You got a master's in business, didn't you? An MBA?
No, I got an MFA, a master's.
MFA. So that's my mistake. I thought that didn't make much sense. Thank you.
No. It was a master's of fine arts, in photography. Yeah. And obviously my interest was documentary, whereas I would say the program was probably more conceptual in nature. But I was allowed to follow, my choices, of course. And I always say that I I made it through my master's program in spite of the program, not because of it. It wasn't I really didn't know what to expect. And one of my undergraduate professors said, Denise, these people that you'll be working with, your instructors, they're like colleagues. They're like, they're doing the same thing and they're not necessarily going to be your buddies anymore. So it was a difficult program, I would say. It was very trying, but it pushed me, and I'm satisfied with what became of it in terms of my growth.
When we talk about fine arts,
Yes,
describe that to me a little bit.
Fine arts. Well, I guess it could be many things to many people. To me, it's an expression of the individual, and what they're expressing could be very personal. It could be very universal.
Mhm.
But also, if you're able to tap in and open up and reveal personal things, that actually becomes universal, because these are feelings and emotions that everyone at some time might have had. So you're touching something in everyone, but everyone will see it differently depending on what their personal experiences have been.
Talk a bit about your experience with legacy writing.
I was so grateful to get into the legacy writing. To me, it pushes me to go deeper into the feelings and experiences that I had growing up, and being able to address those feelings and being able to talk about them in a way that would be perhaps easier for family members to swallow. Because of course I write pretty directly, I think. but I would say that I write in a way that's very lyrical. So it's not, like pounding somebody over the head with the information.
Are you sharing your work with family members?
Not yet. Not yet. I did, though, ask my sister. I had written something that I had read in the group, and I had wanted to ask my sister what her memories of that were. Turns out she didn't recall anything of it at all. So it was like all new to her, which was rather amusing.
What part of the arts do you find most fulfilling?
Well, I started with drawing when I was a child, so I still like drawing. I like holding a pencil and working with that medium. I've worked with lots of mediums, but I still like working with a pencil, whether it's a color pencil or a graphite pencil. But then I found photography. I was teaching art at a Jewish Reform camp up in Wisconsin, and they had a fellow that was doing photography, and he and I became very close friends, and he introduced me to photography. And I had intended to take a class when I came back, and I did, and I found that I really, really, really enjoyed it. I loved the whole process, not only just taking the photograph, but back then it was film. So, being in the dark room and the sound of the water moving while it washed the prints after you printed them. I could stay in the dark room for hours. So it was magical, I guess, is how I would explain it. Very magical. And then I ended up moving from the black and white film into hand coloring the images. Not all of them, but the ones that seemed that they would work well with some color to them. So I used colored pencils.
And are you exhibiting this work?
I have exhibited work, but I've never exhibited any of my hand-colored pieces. A lot of them I sold or gave away, so I will have to do a whole nother collection. Yeah.
And what brought you into fiber art?
When I was young, I learned to knit and crochet, and then I didn't, pursue it as I grew older. And I never learned how to read a pattern, but I could knit a scarf or crochet a hat or something to that effect. But after my daughter passed away, for whatever reason, I went over to the yarn shop and wanted to learn actually to read a pattern, and became very involved with that business. It's a wonderful yarn shop in Glen Ellen, downtown Glen Ellen. And a group of women would sit and knit Thursday evenings, Saturdays, Sunday afternoons. And I just really enjoyed making things that I could give to friends and family as gifts. Probably I've kept one or two of the items that I've made. Everything else has been given to somebody. And then through a friend who became a weaver or got into weaving and fiber arts, I also learned to do finger weaving. So I've done a little bit of that, not a whole lot, but I've started it and kind of put it aside, and I have to go back and relearn some of the things that I have forgotten. So that's how I got into that. And because I hadn't been doing a lot of it after COVID, and once I was with Arborist Neighbors, I was like, well, I would like to do it again or more. And to me, it's something that's really lends itself to doing with a group of people. And so I thought of doing fiber arts, where people who have other interests in fiber would find a place to come to and work together. And so myself and another woman, Bonnie, we opened up our homes and we have people come twice a month and enjoy the time together.
So for our listeners, what is Arbor West Neighbors?
Arbor West Neighbors, yes. I laugh only because I don't know quite how to put it. It's for, I think, people over 50 or 55. I'm not quite sure. It provides, it's a non-for-profit organization, and it provides a place for people to come together and to share their interests and to learn about things having to do with themselves, things that are pertinent to aging. They have meetings once a month where you can gather together. They have the smaller group meetings, a circle of friends. They have interest groups. They have seminars that are there for particular interests, such as there was one on aging. There's been one on home living, being able to, stay in place, live in place, or aging in place, I should say. I don't know if I'm describing it well enough.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
So, trying to make our community an age-friendly, inclusive, welcoming, hospitable place for older people. Yeah.
And which community is that?
Say again?
Which community is that?
Well, it's in Oak Park, River Forest Park area.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Okay.
You said something about finger weaving?
Yes. So it's a loom, which is probably about half a foot by maybe 3 feet. And you put the yarn on the loom and then you weave using your fingers. So instead of I'm not quite sure actually what it's called when you do weaving in a larger scale, but you weave with your fingers. I had started making a couple of bookmarks, and then I'm going to make something that I can make not multiple of the same thing, but a number of pieces, and then they can be sewn together to be a larger piece. So,
okay.
I don't know if that answers your question or makes it any clearer to you or not.
A little better.
Sounds obvious, but then thanks for asking the question, Gail, because I wasn't sure either.
Oh, yeah. Too bad I don't have it with me. It's easy to carry around, but I didn't think to bring it. Yeah. It's like weaving on a smaller scale.
Smaller scale. So I know that your legacy writing enables you to go back into life experiences and memories. Has your former life experience influenced your art?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Has my personal life influenced?
Your personal life, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Oh, yes. Without a doubt. Yeah.
In what ways?
Directly. I mean, my losses. I have a series of, just as an example, of photographs that are from what's called a boneyard. I have a friend that lives out in Wyoming, and her husband is a rancher. And on visiting, we were going down to the barn, and all of a sudden I see all these dead cattle in different forms of different stages of decomposition. And I'm like, what is this? And she goes, well, it's the boneyard. I'm like, the boneyard? And then, yes, it's where, we bring the cattle that have died into a certain spot. So any coyotes or other wild animals will stay away from, the living cattle and, focus if they need be on the deceased. So I took a whole series of photographs of that. And then I was there later and I took another series of photographs. So I suppose, it has to do with loss and regeneration. And so it has to do with my personal experience.
And I'm curious also about you and so involved in your granddaughter's life and then your great-grandson. What has that been like to have that kind of intimate, close connection with them?
Yes. Well, with my granddaughter, my daughter dying at such a young age and my granddaughter being still very young, having had, a similar experience, just at a different age, I felt the need to be able to fill in however I could, knowing that it would never be the same, but at least there would be somebody there that she could know that she could go to. And having great grandsons, I think it's just, it's wonderful. They're just so much fun. One's 10, so it's totally different. The other one is almost 2. So I've got a really big difference in terms of the development. And my older great grandson, he is really a ham. And it's something I'd never expected, but he really is. And it's very, very fun and enjoyable. And also to see the two of them together and how they relate, and just, watching again the development of the little one, into, an infant and then toddler, and just all the different stages. In some ways, I feel that as a grandparent and a great grandparent, you, in some ways, not always, but in some ways, you enjoy them more than you were able to as a parent. Because as a parent, at least I was, oh my gosh, this responsibility and making sure that everything goes well and everything else that's going on in your life. Whereas, with a grandparent, they always say, well, you can always give them back. But to me, it's not necessarily that makes it so wonderful. It's just you don't have the full pressure, even though you do, of course, worry and are concerned, but you know that there's somebody else there that's got their back too.
Yeah. It's nice.
You're right. Yes. I know just what you mean.
Yeah.
Gail, do you want to ask our favorite question?
Oh.
Favorite question, of course, is, Denise, how do you feel or think about your own aging?
Okay. I have thought about that question, I mean. So I never thought much about getting older, except in terms of, oh, wow, then I'll be able to do this and then I'll be able to do that. And then, my father can't tell me when I have to go to bed, things of that nature. But as I grew older, I would say the only time that it really hit me was when I turned 70. And I'm like, okay, I'm 70, but what does that mean? And I found that it just means that I'm in my 70s and that I will continue to do the things that I enjoy doing, and I will do what I need to do to make that possible.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it means to me.
I like it.
Like it too.
Yes, very good.
Good message. Well, Denise, thank you so much for talking with us. This has really been delightful.
Oh, thank you.
And listeners, make your voice heard as together we change the conversation about women aging. Explore womenover70.com and join us at our Aging Reimagined Circle. And we want to recommend another podcast to you. And that is Alana Landsberg-Lewis, who is host of Work, Older Women, Elder Women, and Grandmothers on the Move. Formerly, it was Grandmothers on the Move. And it features energizing and inspiring conversations with older women, activists, and artists the world over. Their wisdom, resilience, and continued contribution to improving the human condition is just what we need in these times. You can access this wonderful podcast at wisdomatworkpodcast.com.